y'all doing today? I am your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, the best film writer and director in St. Louis Facts, award-winning published author, activist, journalist, actor, Lacey G Souldier Turner. And today we got a special guest, multi-talented, award-winning vocalist, trumpeter, songwriter, recording artist, entertainment extraordinaire, one of the greatest blues and jazz singers. We got Lady J Huston up here. How you doing, lady?
Hey, it's good to be here. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction.
Oh, no problem. We're going to keep you probably about 45 minutes today, you know what I'm saying? So, okay. So our first question to you, where were you born and raised, and how was your upbringing?
I was born here in St. Louis, Missouri, and the upbringing was a challenge. A single mother with 5 kids. I'm the only girl of 4 brothers, 3 older and 1 younger. And my mom was an adventurous woman. She was an activist. She did a lot of advocacy. She was also a vocalist. And so I grew up in a lot of music. And we lived in the Pruitt-Igoe projects, right. The historic Pruitt-Igoe. Yeah. And she was a building captain, and she also worked for the housing authority. So we had a lot of things going on. It was a beautiful place to be in, and then lack of care, government support, it went to ruins. And then I moved over on University Street into a house that had 3 floors and a full basement, many rooms. It's like a little mansion. And the white folks moved away from these big homes, and we moved in, and so we was living in a life of luxury there.
The white flight.
Yeah. Is that what it's called? You're right.
So let me ask you this: for anybody who's never been to St. Louis, we get the top 5 murder rate all the time. People say we're the most dangerous cities. What can you tell people about St. Louis who has never been here?
Well, I'm luckily still be alive, not one of those statistics. Okay. I love the city. Now, I did move away for many years. I wasn't afraid or anything, but it was the allure to the West Coast and the East Coast, and college and touring and things like that. So around 2013, I moved back here, and I bought this beautiful home where I'm sitting right now in Ferguson. Ferguson gets a terrible rap, and it's not all what everybody talks about as far as Ferguson either. So there's a lot of history here, which I love. All these buildings with brick, masonry, just the architecture, just so many beautiful things here. So we can do our part right now to help clear up that all negative image. It's a lot of beautiful stuff here too.
Okay, so let me take it back a little bit. What got you into doing music and playing instruments?
Like I said, my mom, she's the first one that influenced me in the music. I remember my first memory is in the crib dancing to music she was playing. And then when I got maybe 5 or 6, I would tag along with her to her rehearsals. She sang in the churches. Matter of fact, her manager was Chick Finney, who had an entertainment column here at the Argus newspaper. And one of my first times, maybe my first time I was in the newspaper, I was 12 years old, and I would dance with my mom's shows and Chick Finney productions. And I'm 12 years old in the newspaper in the Argus. Wow. As a dancer. And that's how I started dancing originally. Then I progressed to the drums. No, the flutophone first, a wind instrument, then the drums, and then the trumpet. In high school here in St. Louis, Central High School, Herman Morgan, fabulous instructor. And I got into the choir, Walter Young, fabulous choir director. And he helped me develop my 4-octave range, because I have my mom was a contralto, and a lot of deep voices are in our family. And I was goofing around, squealing in choir one day. He said, you're out of the tenor section, second soprano. I'm like, oh, I can't sing that. My voice was cracking and everything, but it developed.
That's why you got them good chops when you play the trumpets and all that. You're able to like have that breath control.
Oh, yes, a lot of training from starting here. I am blessed. And this is one thing I love about St. Louis, that the rich music history that is here. As I toured and traveled, if I was to say when I say it, I'm from St. Louis, it was immediately cred. Boom, you in, come on.
Yeah.
And the instructors were fantastic in my life. So I give a lot of credit to helping me stay in the right lanes with the music. That was my salvation.
Okay. So me listening to your music, you're very unique. What is your thought process when you do your music, the blues and the jazz? Because I find it as being unique, the storytelling and everything.
Well, as far as songwriting or just performing?
Songwriting.
Oh, the songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
I typically do true stories. So if I say this is an original composition, if it's a happy or a sad one, it's more of it is going to be reality of something I experienced. And what I find is when you talk about your own experience, there's others that have had similar experiences and they connect with you. So I don't really need to go out and make up stuff. So I talk about what's real, if it's romantic, if it's just having fun, been in a party, any of that. I noticed that when I just start writing naturally, I kept writing the blues. And I'm like, why do I keep going into the blues? Even though I love all styles that grew out of the blues, which is most of American music. That is my major set of what I build around it. So then I mix in other styles. So my songs are not just a straight, what they call a 1-4-5 blues progressions. I like to mix it up and add different elements to it.
Okay.
And make
and
the song.
I guess this question is kind of pertaining to that a little bit. A lot of people do blues and jazz and, performers. What separates you from other, blues and jazz musicians?
You ask some hard questions.
Hey, I dig deep.
Why don't you tell me what
I'm a real interviewer. I'm a real interviewer.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh wow.
Yes.
Let me see. What sets
What
me apart?
separates you apart from the other musicians?
Well, I'll start with the instrument that I play. Most women do not play the trumpet. And that's one of the reasons I selected it. I always like to be different. Sometimes I got me into trouble. I was so different. So that's the one thing. And I do incorporate other styles. I even, right now, people are loving, I just keep doing it. I throw some opera. When I sing Summertime, I do a whole verse around, like that. And they're like, whoa, wait, what just happened there? So I have a lot of versatility.
Okay.
And then on the musician side, I studied music theory and composition. So I know pretty much chord structures and symbols and things that I want. And sometimes that can be unnerving to musicians that are used to playing certain things a certain way. And I come in, I want a different arrangement, I want different chord structure. And I get into, debates every blue moon about that. But I'm deeply involved in my arrangements, how they come through.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask these questions so the audience who don't know, you can get to know you up for this piece. So I see that you toured and performed with some of the most legendary artists out there. Could you name some of them artists that you toured with and played with?
Okay, I only toured. Yes, exclusively. I toured with Albert Blues Boy King, who from Mississippi, and he relocated to East St. Louis, and then he just pulled musicians out of St. Louis, and he was over here a lot. So at 18 years old, I auditioned. I had taken I had been through a year and a half of college. I graduated early from high school, valedictorian, and then I went to college. And I was actually going to college while I was in high school. So I said, this opportunity came. I said, let me take a break and go travel. So by traveling with him, I was able to meet and perform on the same stage and shows with artists like B.B. King, Bobby Blue Bland, Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, Etta James, Millie Jackson, Guitar Shorty, Robert Cray. Before he became big, he opened for the show, and just so many wonderful people. And I wish that was the age of the cell phone, because I did not capture photos with all of those great people. So when I lived in Los Angeles, I did openings for people like Jimmy Houston, which saxophonist, the Coasters, and some others I can't recall. And then when I moved to Las Vegas, I would play with the Drifters. My ex, Johnny Stewart, he was with the Drifters. He was also with Sam and Dave. Now, I think with the Sam and Dave, I was available to tour with them, but because I was dating Johnny, they said he can't have his piece on the road with him and the rest of it. There's all kinds of weird discrimination happens.
They was hating.
And I've never told that story before. Look at you.
Look at that, I got an
doing the
exclusive.
Oprah on me.
That's right, dropping them jewels. I'm getting these exclusives.
That's a first.
So what was it like? Hey, I got it. Yeah. What was it like, Etta James and Muddy Waters and B.B. King were some of my favorite artists. So what were they like in person? Okay.
All right. So I was on several shows with Etta James. I didn't get to meet her in person. Now let me tell you.
Are you for real? Wow.
No, let me tell you. Here's another exclusive.
Okay.
Now what is the audience for this show? What is the audience range? Let me see. Tell me how far deep I can go. How much I got?
You can go deep. We got all type of artists. We got from young to old up there. So you good.
Okay. All right. I'll try to keep this where you can read between the lines. Okay. So I was at a show with Etta, and she was downstairs in her dressing room. I was on stage. Some of her people came by and said, "Hey, there's a lady up there playing a trumpet." And she says, "Really? That sounds so cool." So this is what they tell me. So they come up to me, they said, "Hey, Etta would like to meet you down at in a dressing room." I said, "Really?" Oh, because I love me some Etta James. So I told Albert, I said, "Hey, I'm going to go down there and meet with Etta. I'll be back." And he says, "Nope, you can't go down there."
What?
What? Nope. Because they say she's fluid. What can I say? So I wasn't allowed.
Oh man, I would have been like, "Sorry, I'm gonna go with it."
I was scared. I did whatever Albert told me to. And then, to be totally honest here, after about a year of touring with Albert, I didn't intend this to happen, but I ended up falling in love with him. So we were, partners. So he was overly protective and a little controlling towards me. So that messed up that introduction with Etta. But Muddy Waters. So when we were playing it, I never forget this one. We were playing in California at a winery, and this was the show with this is when I met John Lee Hooker and Muddy Waters. And I go and they just are just down to earth, just chatting away, saying hello to me, asking me about what I've been doing, how long I've been playing, just friendly as all get out. So that was a beautiful experience, because I just in awe of their excellence.
Mm.
Now, when I was living in Vegas, I had met, well, there's another story with the Bobby Blue Bland. We all had our buses lined up at a big show. So I take a break from Albert's bus, and some of the Bobby Blue Bland people waving, hey, come on down. I said, oh, okay, here I come. And I get on that bus, poof, Smoke City.
They was over there.
Whoa, whoa. I said, what? Okay, let me see who's in here.
Get through the fog.
Yeah, I gotta work my way through. And oh my God, they were so much fun. I'm just sitting there chit-chatting and having fun. And then somebody looked out the window and said, here comes Albert. I was like, everybody's like, oh no, here comes Albert. And boom, 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 boom. And he comes get on the bus. He says, hey girl, get off this bus. I'm like, oh.
Hey, let you have no fun up in there.
No, it's stopping multiple things, so that, it's hard, sometimes say, don't date at work, and those are some of the pitfalls when you date at work, so they they get all jealous and possessive of you and stuff like that. So when I met BB King, that I remember that one very clearly. That was in Memphis on an outdoor festival, and he says he was flirty. Oh, you so pretty. How you doing? I said, I'm good, thank you very much. And very besides that, very cordial. So many years later, I went down to LA to his club, and I didn't expect him to be there. BB's in Hollywood. Lord, he was there.
Heck nah.
And I had a friend with me, and BB is a serious flirt. That's why they think they got about 17 kids.
Wow.
He's a big flirt. He's a big flirt. So he remembered me, and I think I got an autographed picture of him. I have a museum in my basement, and man, I don't know. I should have filmed this in the basement so I could do a little scan of my museum memorabilia and everything. So I got his autograph there, but he was attracted really to my friend. Okay, here's another exclusive place.
Well, look at that. I'm getting all the exclusive today. That's what I do.
So he says, hey, I'm staying at it's the Hollywood, the Beverly Hills. It was in Beverly Hills where he was staying. And he says, why don't you all come over? And we said, okay. You silly young girls, right? And so we go over there, and we meet his bodyguard and some of the band members, and they said, oh, BB's not available at the moment. And these rooms had doorbells on them. He was in the suite. It was his doorbell, ringing the doorbell. He gave us the right room now, rang the doorbell, but he didn't answer. And then they told us he wasn't available. So come on, hang with them. So we went and hung out with them, and he actually never came out of the room. So between the time he gave us that room number and everything, hooked up with somebody else.
Hey, wow, that's crazy. So I see that we got some exclusives from Lady J today.
Yeah, I'm turning this fast. Sorry.
That's all good. It's all good, Lady J.
Do you go full all the way, or do you?
Yeah, all the way after this.
Okay, wait a minute.
Don't worry. Hey, don't worry. We got time. Y'all see Lady J she been dropping jewels. We done got about 3 exclusives up in this piece. Yeah. 3. So y'all better make sure y'all watch this up in this book so y'all can get these exclusives, because we finna get it.
I'm getting hot.
It's all good. It's all good. See, I'm putting you in the hot seat. I'm putting you in the hot seat up in this.
Yes.
So I know you done traveled to all these different cities. What was your favorite city to play in?
I have to say Las Vegas. That's where I stayed, and I had no intentions of leaving. I love the showrooms. Sometimes I was in major showrooms where all major artists played. And then I was able to, I love the backstage experience, the green rooms. I just a ham for all that stuff. And one thing at the Mandalay Bay, when I played the Hard Rock Hotel, now this is my band. So my band was called Lady J Huston and the Fireballs. And we really excelled in Las Vegas and ended up winning multiple best blues band awards, performer. And then people referred to me as the Las Vegas Queen of the Blues. So I was everywhere. And I liked the Hard Rock Hotel. They had different green rooms named after artists. So there was the James Brown green room, the Etta James green room, and those are two I remember right off the top. And they had, different types of furniture and things. So they're very very entertaining area to be in. It's just the corporate gigs were beautiful. They feed you well, they pay you well. When I came back to St. Louis and started performing, I went through like a culture shock.
You're like, hold on, I went from this to that.
I'm like, oh no, that's what the pay is. Really?
Like, I need to get back to that. Let me ask you this. Okay, so I saw you was on America's Got Talent as a finalist. You was featured with ABC World News Tonight with Diane Sarah. It seemed like you was doing a lot of major stuff, and then you had a health crisis in 2013. So can you tell us what happened, or yeah?
No, I don't mind.
All right,
go
ahead.
Okay, so with America's Got Talent, I was on the finale show. I was not a finalist. Okay. So the crew I was with called the Audition All Stars. So I was they rigged my audition and treated me terribly as far as how they edited what actually happened. And what I learned, and I'm just sharing this story first. Okay. If you go on a reality TV, you sign away your rights to everything about you, so they can slice and dice you any kind of way they want to. And you got to have a backstory when they're interviewing you. They prefer you have a struggling backstory. So every time they would ask me, "Oh, 5 kids, it must have been just terrible." I said, "Yes, it was a little difficult, but we persevered, and I ended up, graduating and going to college." And then they said, "Oh, this must have been horrible." Well, not exactly. What happened was,
they try to make it worse.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the game I was supposed to play. So when I did my audition, people went crazy over it, but they zonked me. And I had family there. We was like, we don't understand what just happened. When they played it online, on TV, they had me stationed in New York and I was in LA. And they had a crowd, wasn't even mine. So I was just like devastated. So then they called me back. They said, "We'd like you to be on the finale show." I'm like, "Why?" Because you're one of our favorites. Well, you didn't act that way. And then they put me into this confessional after the audition. So you get in this black curtain room and just you and the producer, and they want to go through. So how do you feel about that? They want you to cry and everything. Yeah. I said, "Man, that was phony." Yeah. I said, "You all know my history. Y'all go to my website." That boom, 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 boom. None of that aired. Okay, so then they said, "Come back and we will pay you," because you go there, you don't get paid to do the audition and everything. I got paid. I got to hang out with everybody that was in the cast. We had an after party. It was beautiful. David Hasselhoff, Sharon Osbourne, Piers Morgan, all these people. And it turned out to be a fabulous. But I said, the only way I'm going to come back and do this finale is if it's unedited. And they promised it would not be edited. And it wasn't. Okay. So that ended up being a beautiful experience. So the Diane Sawyer, around 1992 or 3, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And at that time, it was a barely heard of illness. And the support group there asked me if I would be their celebrity spokesperson. And I wanted to do it because I thought I could help inspire others, because when I first hit me, I could barely move. and you couldn't touch me because my body would just like collapse. It was overly sensitized. And doing water aerobics and holistic things, I came back. Then years later, this doctor asked me, did I have certain symptoms? I said, yes. And they said, well, you have lupus. I'm like, oh no. And so then I go to the lupus support group to learn about that. And they said, would you be our celebrity spokesperson? And I said, sure. So I would do concerts, do fundraisers, and go and do speaking engagements. And then we got a call to go on ABC World News Tonight and have me be the featured story. And so Paula Ferris and all these different things was going on. It was a wonderful experience. And I was telling them about my journey and how to get reductions in medical billing. Basically, all you have to do is ask for it. And a lot of people don't know that. So wanted to share. So I call myself a health advocate. This is why I don't mind sharing what went through. Then in 2013, I started having seizures, and they could not, what they called, I forget the term right now, but unknown etiology, pretty much, why they were happening. Did a lot of testing, couldn't figure it out. And when it first thing happened that was different, I was singing, a guest singer at this church, and big church, I think it was called I think it was the Center for Spiritual Living, Las Vegas. I think that was the church. And it was time for me to sing my lines. And I couldn't think of what they were. And I saw auras, white auras all over the room. And I'm thinking I'm having one heck of a religious experience. I'm thinking I'm getting ready to elevate, and I'm like, I'm like into this, a little bit. And she's keep say the words, say the words. I come out of it, I step out of it, and I start singing and things. And then I was just like off the whole rest of the day. Well, I started getting worse, and I had my band. I couldn't book us, but one of the guitarists and his wife, they came over and they said, let's help you out, because they know I like to keep a clean house. And I woke up and they were in my face. And I didn't know what had happened. My arm was hurting and everything. And that's when they called the ambulance and things. So the doctors, I went into rehab, and they said, we don't know what to do for you. We think you need to get your papers in orders. Your life may be ending soon. My mom was coming back and forth, trying to care for me. And she says, I have more resources and I can't keep traveling back and forth. So you need to come on back to St. Louis. That is why I ended up back here. And so then I started going to Washington University, a hospital university, the doctors there. They put me on, like I was on 25 milligrams of this medication in Vegas. They said, well, you need to be on 200 milligrams of this twice a day. I said, you all are really getting ready to kill me. I guess.
Yeah, they try to make.
Yeah, I know I'm going out now for sure. This is it. And lo and behold, the seizure stopped. Well, they recited, quite a bit, then it just like, and then they told me, matter of fact, by the way, you do not have lupus. So I'm up here being a spokesperson. I'm in major magazines, major national news. I'm in many articles, local news, all kind of stuff, because we was hitting the road, with this inspirational story. And I was like, wow, well, that's a good thing, because it's really heavy in the African-American community, females, and it can definitely be deadly. So after they got me under control with that, I was barely able to walk still. And then I found a holistic doctor named Matthew Flory. We called him functional medicine. The church I go to was the Center for Spiritual Living here in St. Louis. They told me about functional medicine, which I had never heard of. And so these doctors, they have the traditional medical background, and they combine holistic healing to treat their whole body, as we call it holistic, not just let's give you a pill for that symptom, and then that might cause an effect. Let me give you a pill to counter that effect and give you another pill,
Yeah.
So it was about treating the whole body. And he found I had allergies to foods and environmental things. And so we changed my diet around. We changed the feng shui of my home and all kinds of things. And wow, my life improved. And so I had my first show at the National Blues Museum. My dear friend Frank Dunbar, who hired me to play with Albert King, he said, whenever you're ready, I will get you a band together, which he did. And
I want to ask you that too, right there.
there we went.
What motivated you to get back out there? Like you said, after all that, what motivated you to be like, all right, I'm ready to get back, do this music thing?
What I was doing in between getting back to the stage, full stage, I would sing at my church like 3 or 4 times a year. I always wanted to get back on the stage. I love it. So it's kind of depressing when you can't fulfill that piece of you that is a motivator for life. So I couldn't wait, and I wasn't sure, but I didn't give up the hope that it will come back. And so when it did, now when I started performing, I still wasn't 100%. So my dear neighbor, Altheria Johnson, she says, I will come and help you get through these shows. Because I would get on stage and I don't have enough sense to just sit down and sing. I bop all over the place. I just never could be still. But then the adrenaline and endorphins are getting me through the show. And then when that comes off, and then I would take some extra pain pills and stuff. So then all that's worn off, the adrenaline's over. And then I couldn't hardly drive myself home after shows. So she was there for me, and she would pack up the gear. She learned how to do all of my staging and help me through. Well, now I can drive myself, but I like her around me anyway. So she's still stuck with me, but I can do the driving. So we trade who's going to drive, going or coming and things like that. So, yeah.
So, you've been doing your music. I even helped, direct and shoot a video of yours.
Do it.
So when the pandemic hit, how did that affect you, musically, financially, and everything? Was you able to still make a living through it, or did it impact you?
Oh no, the pandemic was painful. I had been maybe just a year of establishing myself here in St. Louis with my band, and things were moving nicely, and then it came to an abrupt halt. So we had to be creative in how we were going to continue to do music. And because I do have some autoimmune issues, my doctors told me do not go out the house at all when this first hit. And so people would bring me food, leave it at the door, and I would talk through the glass. So I tried some performing in my music room. This is like a sunroom. So I would do some shows with people on the patio and in the yard in chairs, and I was singing through the screen.
You got to be creative. You got to be creative.
So I did several shows that way, and then I started doing some live streaming, and that was about all I could come up with to keep some things going. So I was able to get some grants. Give thanks to the St. Louis Blues Society, a couple of those. I worked with the Keep Live Alive St. Louis, and a fund that would help raise funds for all factors of the entertainment industry. So that's how I kind of sustained myself through those means.
Okay. So tell the audience about, you got this new single that's hitting the airwaves, taking the world by storm, Groove Me Baby, you know what I'm saying? Tell people about the thought process in that song, what made you do that, and what is it about?
Oh, see there you go again. I gotta clean this up. Wait a minute.
You got this. Take your time.
Now, grooving baby. It was because my baby at the time was grooving me. Okay. And I wrote this in 1992. And I have the original version was just me playing all the instruments synthesized that I was just selling at my shows on this CD. It was called Soul Stir Fry, and it was too many different genres on this CD, so I couldn't really place it easily at the record stores, and I learned my lesson. Don't do that again. All right. There's a reason why they want to slot you. I was like, don't slot me. I'm this and that and this and that. Well, we don't know where to put you. Okay. So I said, well, okay, I'm going to go off and let me do this blues album. And I'm starting with Groove Me Baby, which is not 100% blues, but it will fit. And so we went in the studio, and we're recording several songs. And I was asked the band members, which is your favorite? Boom, Groove Me Baby, Groove Me Baby. I was like, and then I did some test marketing. I played like 4 of the songs we recorded. Which one's your favorite? Groove Me Baby, Groove. I was like, okay, all right, you all win. I'll go ahead and make this the first cut of it. And so it's very sensual. And some of the promotions we say is the kind of song that make you want to spoon to. And so one guy said, eat. That's a whole different kind of spooning we talking about, young man. And then one guy says, oh, you trying to do that Silk Sonic sound? I said, no, honey, this song was written before they were born, I do believe. So it's interesting. The retro soul is a great, thanks to Bruno Mars and the Silk Sonic. It's a thriving sound, a style right now. So that is where it is. It's in the middle of retro soul and blues and R&B. And so I had the CD release party on the 22nd. The T-shirts were not there, and that was devastating. The young man, Terry Harden, was here helping assist with all kinds of things, and a box came. I said, "Oh my God, that must be the T-shirts. Throw it in the van, okay?" And so we had all this other stuff. We got mugs and women's bikini briefs. That was my partner's idea. They say Groove Me Baby. Oh, I should have brought all of this stuff out so you can see it. So we get down to, we were at BB's Jazz Blues and Soups, and they're setting up the merch table. And I see this long collection of vanity napkins. I was like, well, they have their own napkins. I said, why do we have napkins here? And he said, that was in the box you told me to bring.
Wow.
Put the napkins back. Okay, so I was devastated we did not have these T-shirts.
Yeah,
but I appreciate all of those people who came to the CD release party. We had so much fun. We had too many giveaways. So we kind of took too much time giving away stuff. But I invited people who supported me, and then others found out about me. So it was a wonderful mix of people that I knew or didn't know, but they were there to support us. And wow, it was fun. And so I'm with this organization called Airplay Direct. And the distributor of the record is Earwig Music, under the auspices of Michael Frank, the CEO. He came in from Chicago for the party. And on Airplay Direct, we did some promotions and things. And then they say, hey, you're moving up. You're in the top 50. You're in the top 40. You're in the top 30. I'm like, wait a minute. This is beautiful. And then I can go and download, export a spreadsheet with all the stations that are playing my song. And when I looked at that spreadsheet, I just was astounded that Taiwan, Germany, England, Mississippi,
We're all over the country.
all over the world, Italy. I mean, it's just like, wow, this is fantastic. So I said, I made a post on this and on Facebook, and I said, hey, look, I'm everywhere but St. Louis. Okay. Come on, St. Louis, join the party.
Yeah.
And 88.7 WSIE. That's it. WSIE. I think that's right. Is that right? 88.7. I know it's 88.7. Edwardsville University. Let me put that way. Mr. Jason Church.
I'm gonna look it up and put it in there.
Okay. He tagged me, had my picture in there. He went and did some research. He picked one of his favorite pictures. And he says, I got you playing on the show. I was like, oh, thank you.
The Lou.
So finally it came through.
So Miss Lady J, where can people hear Groove Me Baby?
Anywhere. All streaming platforms.
Okay.
I've got a nice music video. It's a lyric video on YouTube. You just Google Groove Me Baby, Lady J Huston, Huston, and you will find it. And on my website, ladyjhuston.com, you can order the physical CD or you can download, and it would help me better if you did your purchases from my website, because the streaming platforms, they pay us like less than a penny for their downloads.
Yes. Can I get some t-shirts too?
Yeah, you get some. Yeah, today or tomorrow, I will have all the merchandise online, where we have the t-shirts, the bikini briefs, and the coffee mugs, and they're all really cool. And we have two styles of the t-shirt: one with my photo, and one with just the words "Groove Me Baby."
Okay. So all our music we do, it's always our baby. So what are some of your favorite songs that you think that you want the audience to go listen to that you have done?
Of my originals?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we debuted a few of the originals at the CD release party that's going to go on the album. One is called Mean Stud Lovers Blues, and that is a fun song. I am doing one of my mother's songs. She charted in the 60s with a song called I Want a Man Like That, and It's Best to Play It Cool. So I'm going to do a tribute to her and do her song, I Want a Man Like That. And then Chick Finney is a songwriter. So I got some serious ties here with artists. Okay. So I'm redoing that song. And then she wrote a song called 500 Pounds of this word that I can't say, right? So she was a heavy woman, and they just loved it when she did this song. It was a showstopper. So I said, okay, well, I want it to be played. I don't want to put out an explicit song. I want to be the next Millie Jackson. So I changed that word to gizzy. Okay. And now I'm thinking I might say loving, because as I've been test marketing the word gizzy, they say, I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
500 pounds of gizzy.
Yeah. See? You said it the way I'm thinking it. Lacey, help me out. Just go by the title. What should I go, gizzy or love it?
I think you should do gizzy because it's different, and it's gonna make people wonder what it is. So it's gonna make them want to listen to it there, because they're gonna be like, let me try to find out what this is, because it's interesting,
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think you should do gizzy. Yes.
All right.
All right. Let me ask you this, Miss Lady J. While you've been on your journey, what do you think has been your greatest challenge?
My greatest challenge? Wow. Well, I have to say, maneuvering through my dream of music with some health challenges along the way. Right now, I am in the best health I have been in 30 years. Okay. I am now going to the Palm Health Clinic, which they've taken me to a whole nother level of healing. And also I had a hip replacement. One of the drugs they were treating me for the wrong diagnosis of lupus ruined my left hip.
Wow.
And they kept saying, you need to get this replaced. And I just didn't want to. And then I was dragging. my leg, and it was at the height of the pandemic. And they said, you might as well do it because you have time to recover, you know. So I went ahead and did that. And so now I can dance again. I can do my spins, kick my legs. I can do my thing. So
that's what it's about. There you go.
yeah, I'm at my happiest right now. And I thank the Lord, you know, the one most high, for helping me get to this state, and for the support I'm receiving. I have never had anything like this. Gentleman, Cyrus Wingate, has helped me as an executive producer. A lot of the things that I've done financially would not have been possible with that kind of support. So I really appreciate that. Now he's in it for business. He's expecting to get all his money back.
Of course.
And
of course.
so I'm gonna make that happen, and we are making it happen. And so I got some great ventures coming up. Going to Los Angeles for a big Hollywood get down party, networking event, and then going to Las Vegas for the big blues bender. And we're gonna have a good time there, and get the music out, and you know, working on it, getting that Grammy.
That's what it's about. What before the Grammy, you know, the Grammy gonna be there, but for right now, what has been your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment? Oh, I have to say right now, I have never had a song played around the world. This Groove Me Baby is escalating me to heights I've never been before. Having a real record company supporting me, having faith in me to help distribute this and introduce me, because I made one of the biggest mistakes I made was not working on getting my originals out and to the masses. I just sit home and write songs, and that's what I majored in college, music theory composition. But I wasn't pursuing the songwriting end of things. I just wanted to be performing, and I was performing other people's music, making money for them.
I know you're like, hold on, wait a minute, I need to perform for me.
It's a shame that it just took me this long to get that reality in. So I am learning a lot about the recording industry, and then I was a little confused because of streaming services like Spotify and Apple Tunes and all these places. You don't make any money when you sell your music.
No.
You don't make anything. I was like, so what's the point in putting music out? You're not gonna make a dime. Exactly. But no, I learned my lesson. You get the exposure.
There you go. Yes. And then like you said, you lead people towards your website, but you get the exposure from putting it out on these other platforms.
Right. So this is it. I'm at a pinnacle right now. This is what's happening.
Okay. So listen, Lady J, you've been in the game for a while. What advice would you give to someone who wants to come in this music industry, being a blues and jazz singer?
Well, let's see. If you're an instrumentalist, don't just play blues. Just don't learn to just play blues. Jazz is very difficult with all those different progressions and things. So as an instrumentalist, you need to really practice, and then just be able to play some styles of all. But you know, it's cool to find, hone in on what's your favorite. But I think it's important to learn how to read music. A lot of musicians can't play by ear, but you get more opportunities when you can read off a piece of paper. You know, sometimes you get hired for studio sessions. You don't have time to just go home and study the track. Sometimes the track's not even made yet, So they say, come in here and play this. So I think it's very important you learn how to read music. Okay. And you got to have good personality as far as following directions and being timely. Now, people who really know me are probably going to laugh right now, as I said, timely. But I am not late for my shows, but I have a bad habit in other areas. But when it comes to my music stuff, I'm serious, and I want you at my stuff on time. And I just ask, if you're gonna be more than 10 minutes late, give me a courtesy call.
Mhm.
And people who can't do that, nobody wants to work with you.
Facts.
No. So you
Mhm.
got to be responsible.
Mhm.
That's very important. Sometimes you don't even want the best player because they are
Oh,
stuck
yes.
on themselves too much.
Facts. Yes.
And
Facts.
like you're privileged to have me in your presence. You know,
Facts. Yes.
no, just be the guy that's not the greatest who shows up on time. I don't have to chase him down. He doesn't ask me a bunch of questions
Mhm.
about, I send an email. This is the itinerary, follow it. Don't say I read half the email,
Facts.
you know.
Real talk. All right, Miss Lady J. Let the people know if you got anything coming up that you want them to know about.
Oh, thank you. On a Friday, August 13th, we will be at the Dark Room at the Grandel. That's a 10 o'clock show. You can go on my website, access to all tickets, different levels. And we're going to be doing the Music at the Intersection sampler. I have another group called the Albert King Alumni Tribute Show. And I recruited all these musicians who tour with Albert King. And we are actually working on a documentary. We've got everything filmed. So we're in the editing process right now. And heck, maybe I pull you in on that piece too.
Okay, hey, I'm
Um,
here.
oh, I'm thinking, yeah. So then our next big show is going to be at Music at the Intersection. I'm excited to be a part of that 2-day festival, which Erica Badu is the headliner.
Wow.
You got Buddy Guy on there, Gary Clark Jr., just Booker T, from Booker T and the MGs. I mean, Rolls Royce. So it's
Wow.
like, I am so honored to be on that show. And they wanted my Albert King tribute show. So we're going to be there at the Big Top
Mm.
on Sunday, September 11th. So go out there, get your tickets to both of those shows right now. And then September 24th, I'll be at the Blue Strawberry
Mm-mm.
with my band coming back there for another wonderful experience. I love that venue, good food, good sound system. It's just a fabulous place. So I like playing very nice establishments, and all of these are.
Okay. So make sure y'all go out there. Y'all already got the dates. Go see Lady J Houston in person. So,
Yeah.
Miss Lady J, my last question that I like to ask all my guests. When it is all said and done and you're long gone from this earth, what is it that you want the world to know about Lady J Houston?
I
And
have
she,
my phone
there you
on.
go. You
Okay.
back. You back.
Um, that I was, they called me a peacemaker. All right. I like that to be recognized, that uh, in times of strife, conflict, I always try my best to help resolve, help find a solution to anger and things like that. That I helped. I do a lot to try to help heal the racial divide in America. I'm also a genealogist, and I've done family history research, found the descendants of the slave masters family, and we've connected. We do podcasts, interviews. We've been on TV together. So I have just submitted another collection to the Missouri History Museum of my uh, and my mother's research in music and genealogy. So I want that to be, that's my living legacy, that the research and sharing of the history of St. Louis and my family. Those are my passions, and hopefully great music that will live on forever.
All right. So that was great. So let the people know where they can find you at and your website and everything.
Any social, I even have a nerve to have a TikTok account. And anything, Lady J Huston, LadyJHuston. And that is also my website. LadyJHuston.com, and subscribe, and you get special news and sometimes giveaways. I just was giving away 30 tickets to
Yeah,
see
I saw that,
the
sir. Yeah,
documentary,
yeah.
and the different things come out. I did a Melba Moore giveaway once. So and then I might have discounts for my shows, or like I did the CD release party, we did a lot of giveaways. So sign up, keep in touch with me.
Okay. Is there anything else you want the people to know before we get out of here? We done ran through the timeline.
Wow, I can't believe we made it through. And I'm nervous of what this is going to sound like on some area.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Trust me, it's gonna be great. You dropped a lot of
Okay.
jewels. We got exclusive, everything.
Yeah, you got so many exclusives. I don't know how you did that. I just want everybody to be at peace. I did a lot of advocacy during the for the Corona situation. I'm in the Blues Museum, their pandemic display. The pandemic is not over. I want everyone to still be out there, be safe. Don't be reckless in your living, and love one another and be respectful to all.
There you go. There you have it. So Ms. Lady J also send me some pictures so I can put with your article.
Absolutely.
I thank you for your time. Like I said, you gave the audience a lot. Of course, all of it they're gonna be in the article, so they're gonna have to watch this so they can get them exclusives. I'm gonna make sure they do so they can know.
Okay.
But I appreciate your time. It was a great interview. It was great to, hear your story. For those who don't know you, they get to hear your story, your timeline, what you've been through, your adversities, your triumphs, and all that. So I thank you for being on the platform.
You do a great job. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. It's good seeing you again.
Good seeing you too. So I keep you posted.
Oh, thank you, sir.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.